All right. Now I think we're live. So good to see everybody. Today we're going to be talking about these two iPads for just a little while. I've had a ton of questions on these two iPads. I just filmed like an official comparison between the M2 Air and the M2 Pro iPad. That's been the big question from everybody is like, what of these two iPads are people going to buy? Most of it is going to come down to just having this Pro display. Like this Pro display compared to the regular 60 hertz, it is very different. I'm not going to lie, like quite different, in fact. So I just think it's a good time to talk about these. I'm going to check the stream real quick. Let me turn this all the way off just in case. All right. Let's see if I have audio. All right. Oh, that's great. All right. So, yeah, like I said, what's up, Alex? Good to see you. Let me know if you have any questions about these iPads. They're dope. They're good iPads. I just filmed a video, like I said, for these to talk about why we're in such a good spot with iPads, why I feel like it's so good that people can actually go with older iPads right now and still have probably a better experience than going with the M2 Air. Like I was saying, the display is probably going to be the main thing that pushes people to this device or away from this device. If you've never used a ProMotion display, maybe you're on an older iPhone, it really is quite awesome. It is an incredible display, and just using it with stuff like the Apple Pencil is a really big deal. And so I'm going to be answering some questions tonight. Anybody who has any questions, let me know. I typically take these live streams down, so it's not going to be something that's up for super long. But if you have a question, I am more than willing to talk about it and answer that question for you. Like I said, these iPads are awesome. I am, however, a little disappointed, I guess, with the iPad Air compared to the iPad Pro, because I just don't know, the exact reasons why somebody would go with this iPad Air over this iPad Pro. Like, if they are as close as a competition as they are, it's not that big of a deal. So like I said, ask questions if you have any questions in the chat. If you guys want to see my dog, he is over here chilling right there on that little chair, having a good time. My wife is out of town for a few days, so I decided to do a live stream. So the first thing to talk about with these iPad Airs, one of the bigger things, if you're looking at these and it is a Pro device, that's the big thing about this. This Pro device has something really cool in this USB-C port. It is not just a regular USB-C port. It is actually a Thunderbolt 4 port. And so that's a really big deal. For those of us who, we use this device as one of our only devices, that means you can transfer huge files really, really fast. It's got the 4 speakers on it. They sound good. I was really interested and actually surprised that the new iPad Pro, the M4 iPad Pro, didn't really sound that much better than the... Actually, I thought it was going to sound worse than the older iPad Pro, and it doesn't, which is very interesting because the older iPad Pro has just more room for the acoustics to go places, so I found that interesting. But with that USB-C port, with that being a Thunderbolt 4 port, that's really helpful. That means you can transfer enormous files really, really fast, and so that's going to be helpful for anybody who actually is a Pro user. For the rest of us who are not, as Pro iPad users, that might not be a big push for you for why you'd want this. But again, like I said, with them being at the same price, it's kind of hard to argue why anybody should actually go with that 13-inch Air, just because it's not that big of a deal. All right, if you got questions, we can talk about anything tech related. I'm just doing this for fun. I want to connect with you guys. Thanks for the review of the 11 Pro versus the Air. Yeah, hey, I just filmed right before this my review. It's not really a review, my comparison video of these two, the M2 Pro and the M2 Air, because that's been one that most people have been asking me about, is like which of these two, of the M2 Pro and the M2 Air, which of these would you buy? And the short answer of it is I'd probably get the Pro because of that ProMotion display. Or anybody who is like really wanting to save a little money, you could go down with the M2 Air. That's the 11-inch, and that starts at $800. Does it start at $800? Let me check. Here, we'll go reaction mode. Okay. Hey, there's me twice over. Okay. So the M2 Air, right here. Let's go to apple.com. Store, iPad. How much is this Air, the 11-inch? Yeah, so the 11-inch is starting at $600, man. That's a really, really good price for something as capable as this. When you're looking between that and the Pro model here, that Air is quite a bit cheaper. I mean, $750 is what I was finding it as. So yeah. So Sophus says the problem in other countries, the Pro costs significantly more. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that, but I could see that happening. I mean, for any of these things, it is a deal. Like, I know I have a friend, Dean Lentini. He's got a great channel, Dean in Real Life, if you want to check it out. He talks about movies from the early 2000s, and it's awesome. But he lives in Canada, and he actually says it's hard to find stuff in Canada. So I could imagine other places in the world is difficult. Micah says, just got a brand spanking new MacBook Air M1 for $300 in perfect condition with only 10 cycles on the battery. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the current iPad mini. Okay. Micah, on my channel, I've got a lot of iPad mini videos, and my thoughts are it's my favorite iPad in the world. Like, I use that thing for everything. I'm a really, really big reader, and so for me, having that iPad mini kind of be the size of an open book, I find super helpful. Plus, using it with an Apple Pencil, all that, like, it is a fantastic device. And so the mini, to me, if they stop making iPad minis and they fail to go to the Mini 7, I will be so annoyed with Apple, because it is such a good device. Like, literally, those videos, I get comments every single day, like 10 comments every single day of like, man, I just love the mini. I mean, a lot of people that use it are like weird occupations, like a pilot. I just literally 20 minutes ago responded to a pilot that said he has an iPad mini in his cockpit for, his job, and then he has the 12.9-inch iPad Pro for consuming content and consuming videos. And so, yeah, dude, my thoughts on the mini are it's fantastic. It does desperately need, I think it'd be cool to put the M1 chip in there, because that would be a pretty dope iPad to have the M1 chip, get a ProMotion display. Even if you called it the iPad Mini Pro, I'd be fine with that. Like, I think the iPad Mini Pro would be something I would spend money on. So having an iPad Mini, being able to connect to an external monitor would be so stinking cool. And so, yeah, I'm actually really interested to see what they do at WWDC this year, just to see what they're going to do with the M4 chip being in the new iPad. I hope they're doing some big stuff. So let's see. Alex says, iPad mini is the best size. What I would give for an OLED version. I know, absolutely. And I actually did a video recently of a few hacks that I do on my phone, like this dumb one that I love where I do the color filters so I can read at night. When you have an OLED screen doing this, the blacks are completely black and all the brights are red so it doesn't emit a ton of light. That, to me, is the perfect reading device. If I had an iPad mini with an OLED display that I could put into red mode while I read at night, that's something that I desperately want. So yeah, man, that would be so dope to have that iPad mini. And I don't like people's big concern is, well, what if it costs more? If it's a tool that helps me live my life well and helps me to focus and get better sleep and all that, I'm willing to pay. So yeah. Karen says, at WWDC, Do you think iPads will get something like DeX? I love my iPad Pro M4, but the Samsung DeX is phenomenal. Yes, no, I do not think they're going to do that. Just because it would destroy their MacBook sales. They have put themselves in a position where they cannot cannibalize one of the areas of their business. And so I don't see them doing something like a full DeX thing. But man, DeX is awesome. It is so cool. If Apple ever did something like that, that would be so huge. They're saying this is like one of the biggest WWDCs in forever. They're not going to do stuff that we want. They're going to do stupid AI stuff that's like probably going to be helpful, but it's not going to be the stuff that everybody's been asking for. So, yeah, I mean, come on. The fact that the M4 iPad Pro, I have it somewhere around here. The fact that has a chip that is capable of running full Mac OS and it's not, it's just really, really frustrating. But there's no way they're going to miss out on billions of dollars by putting something like DeX in there. So Micah says, my current ecosystem consists of the aforementioned M1 MacBook Air, a 12.9 iPad Pro M1, and a 15 Pro Max. I won't mention the smaller accessories. My plan is to get the iPad Mini next for content. So how do you like, which actually, Micah, what size iPad Pro, what size MacBook Air do you have? Because that's the issue that I see people running into, is they've got a 14-inch MacBook Pro, and then they've got a 13-inch iPad, and those are like way too close in screen size to be super helpful. So, like for me, I have the 14-inch MacBook Pro. I did have the 16-inch M1 MacBook Pro, the M1 Pro, and that with the 11-inch or 13-inch is fine, but I didn't want to have a 14-inch laptop with a 13-inch iPad. So my like main iPad of the 4 that I've got, my main one is the M4 Pro, the M4 iPad Pro. It's late. All right, ask me any other questions. I'm here to chat, get to talk, get to know you guys. So let's chat. But yeah, Apple's got a cool lineup right now. The fact that everybody has the iPad that they want is pretty stinking awesome. But I do say that with a grain of salt just because they do not have the iPad mini. Guys, there are 13 of you watching. There is only one like, and that is sad to me. If you would like the video, also, if you have something to say it in the chat, homies. If nobody's talking, I'm not going to stick around for super long, but I just want to be here to be helpful. I've just gotten so many comments of people that are looking at these two iPads. They're wanting to know what they should buy. Now is a great time to ask that question so that we can just kind of chat it out and see which of these guys that you want, because they're expensive, and I don't want you to spend your money. Do I have to say this is not financial advice? This is like what I would do if I had your life. So if you purchase, the good thing is with any of these, if you purchase them, you don't like them, Apple has a fantastic return policy, so take advantage of that. All right. Niner Gang says, should I buy the iPad mini refurbished from Apple for $419? I feel like you can probably get a better deal, like $350 somewhere in there, but there's not a huge difference between $350 and $400. So you could pull the trigger on it. I would wait until WWDC, which is in a few days. I would wait only because if they come out, well, you have to ask yourself, budget-wise. Yes, when they put a new one out, the iPad Mini 6 is going to get cheaper, which is great. But maybe you want to buy that new iPad Mini 6 because the iPad Mini is friggin' sweet. So, but if you wait till DubDub, which is in a few days, WWDC, the Worldwide Developers Conference, and they don't announce something, I think that the current iPad Mini still works amazingly well. Do you think there will be an update for the mini soon? Yeah, Fat Kid 7, what up? That's what we've been talking about. I don't know. Like, the whole of the internet loves the iPad mini. But the people who are on the internet searching for tech videos may not be the average population. And so I don't know. I don't know what sales have been for the iPad mini. I do know larger iPads sell better. But the iPad mini does have just such a diehard fan base. So if they don't put out an iPad mini, I will be just so disappointed. Like the 13-inch is cool. The 11-inch I do feel like is a fantastic size. Like, it's one of the perfect sizes for me. But there's just something special about that iPad mini. So yeah, I don't know. At the same time, Apple is killing off all their mini devices. They killed off the mini iPhone. Here's my one theory, Fat Kid. My one theory is this. They're killing off the minis to release foldables. Because they killed off the 13 mini iPhone. So far, they have not announced the iPad mini. But if you look at a iPhone, right here, let's go into this cam. If you look at an iPhone, the size of it doubled out like this would be roughly the size of an iPad mini. And so I'm hoping that they have gotten rid of their mini devices to actually bring out their foldables finally. I know that Apple put out their patent for it a while ago, so we'll see. What iPad mini or what iPad size do you use? I use mostly the M4 11-inch iPad Pro. It depends. It depends. Guys, I'm going to turn on the AC. In Florida, garages are extremely hot right now. So I have this little flap right here that I put on that angles the air down toward me. All right, and if that gets too windy, I don't know that I have it here. Let me know if that gets too windy. I can work with some stuff, but yeah, tell me if you hear air noise, and I'll turn that down. But I currently use the 11-inch iPad Pro for a lot of my work-related stuff, because I find it to be like the best size for work. But for like personal reading and at home, I'm always using the iPad mini. iPad 13, let's look at that real quick. This 13-inch one, I use that. I don't know if you guys have heard in my videos, I'm a pastor. And so I'll use this 13-inch to do like sermon preaching. And it's just cool because like I can have my notes really large on here. And that's quite helpful for me while delivering a sermon. I'm going to turn the AC down just a little bit because it's probably a little bit loud. Let's go. Whoa. All right. Let me keep looking through these comments. Should I buy the iPad mini? There'll be an update for the mini. What iPad size do you use? Okay, my wife wants to know how to convince her to let me get an iPad mini. Your wife wants to know how to convince her to let you get the iPad mini. Well, Miss Schapach, I don't know how, I probably butchered your name. Please let Micah get an iPad mini. It's worth it. It's the most worth it iPad that you could ever have. Mrs. Micah Schapach. It will last forever. Micah will read books on this thing and he will get smarter. He will, in fact, read marriage books so that you can have a better marriage. Mrs. Micah, let him have an iPad mini. Micah, let me know if that worked, dude. All right. Should I buy an opinion this 6 year wait? Dennis, you should wait until a few days until WWDC happens, just to know if they're going to do the update. That's what we've talked about so far. How do you make the most of your iPad? That's a good question, Fat Kid 7. I use my iPad for very specific things. I use it to read a lot, and so I just have the Kindle app on that. I use it for my Bible study stuff, so I have that. I have my Logos app on there. I do use Ulysses a lot, which is like my favorite writing app, bar none. So that Ulysses is to me the greatest writing app of all time, and I will take that. I will say that till the day I die. I love Ulysses. It makes me feel more creative. It works better. So that's great. But really figuring out workflow-wise, the biggest thing, like I said in a couple of my videos recently, the big thing holding the iPad back is just the fact that the Files app sucks. So I just can't have it as like the main part of my workflow still. And that sucks. Like years and years and years and years later of using these iPads constantly, absolutely constantly, and I can't use them because the File app is absolute garbage. So how I make the most, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a video about that, of like the first things I do with an iPad and just like what all apps I use. I do use like an iPad mini. I've got a production company as well, a video production, and so I'll use my iPad mini a lot as a teleprompter for people. It's just such a versatile device, man. All right. Alex says, the sad thing with the iPad Air is the display. The regular iPhone 15 has more resolution and a better display than the iPad 11-inch Air. Yeah, 100%. Like, that's what I was saying. So I just filmed this video. The difference between these two iPads is the display. This is the M2 Pro. This is the M2 Air. And just having that extra, the hertz, so the Pro display, it's a huge deal. And I know you would get used to the 60 hertz, and I kind of go back and forth on this, so sometimes it might seem like I give a different opinion, but it's because I go back and forth on this a lot. Yes, you would get used to the 60 hertz display. It's not that big of a deal. But if they're about the same price, I would rather go with the older one that's got the better display, the higher hertz rate. So I still think somebody knocked me in the comments the other day for saying this. My opinion is the Pro should have 240 hertz, and the Air and the regular iPad should have 120 hertz in 2024. That's just how I think it should go. So yeah. And they said I was an idiot, and I was like, well, you're an idiot. Take that. All right. LG, just received my M4 11-inch in the mail today. I originally bought the 13, but just thought it was too big. Plus, I already have a 16-inch M2 Max. Exactly. MacBook Pro, and don't need another big device. Dude, that's absolutely correct. I love the 16-inch MacBook Pro. I used the M1 16-inch for a long time. And having especially if you're going to get the keyboard or anything for the iPad, that's just a behemoth, dude. It's just too big. You says, should I get the 13 in 16 gigs of RAM for drawing and modeling, or save the money and just get 256 with 8 gigs of RAM? Use the money to trade in once they have a newer model in the next couple years. You always will get a better run of your money if you go for the base model of any of these Apple devices. You can always trade them in or sell them on the aftermarket. It is so much easier to sell a base model device than it is to sell something like a 1 terabyte iPad, because nobody needs that except for the 0.01% of you that are doing modeling and art on it. So personally, just because if you're an artist and you're doing modeling and you're like making money from this, you're probably going to want to keep upgrading. I would go with the lower one. The swap memory is super fast. I've never noticed, and I do a lot of big files, a lot of heavy lifting. I've never had a problem with swap memory, and I don't think people keep their devices long enough for it to really matter anyway. So, all right, Anaji. If I butcher anybody's name, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to. You said, so I have an iPad Pro 11-inch now, and I'm between getting the iPad Pro 12.9 and an iPad Mini 6, or keep my iPad Pro 11-inch and get an iPad Mini 6. Keep the iPad Pro 11, get the iPad Mini 6. It's just the Mini 6 is such a versatile iPad. That's what I would do. You do you, man. You figure it out. I just love the iPad Mini. Now, I would probably wait, like I've said multiple times today, I would wait until dub happens. What you don't want to do is, upgrade any of your iPads and a new one comes out just like a few days later, because WWDC is happening. Now, I don't know. I honestly don't have any idea if they're going to update the Mini. They probably won't, to tell you the truth, but we'll see. Carl. With Ross Young effectively confirming the rumors, it's amazing to think that in around 18 months, we might have a circa 19-inch foldable MacBook / iPad. I don't see it happening, dude. Now, I do think, here's what I'll say. I don't see Apple combining the two devices because of how much it would cannibalize part of their company. But they could also pull a innovation where they're saying like, hey, we're canceling a whole side of our company, and it is going to sell so many units that it won't even matter. We won't feel the hit, anything like that. Because honestly, if they came out with a foldable MacBook iPad thing that ran something like Mac OS, everybody would buy it. So maybe it will work out, and I'm sure they'll be doing quite a bit of testing the market for that. But so far, I don't see evidence that they're gonna hurt their company by making a thing that's like an exact hybrid. So, yeah, I just don't think that's good business for them. I use my 12.9 M1 for drawing and have 8 gigs, but the layer restrictions in Procreate drive me up the wall. I have display issues now and want the M4, but the cost of the 16 and 2000, yeah, that's totally annoying. $2,000 for a tablet? That's crazy, dude. Carl says he can see it happening. It will almost certainly cost $2,500, and so would bring more than either an iPad or a MacBook. Yeah, and honestly, like that's the preferred future that most people want to see. Another thought I just had is like, what if they moved their whole like Mac OS experience to like Vision Pro, and then just upped the game on the iPad to be a more robust thing with a better files management, and then it made it like a foldable kind of thing. I don't know. They're creative. They're interested in making money and keeping customers. So I don't know. We'll see. Micah says she's thinking on it, but she appreciates your response. I'll keep you posted on our choice. Good, man. Good. Also, don't feel bad. No one knows how to pronounce my last name. You said it correctly. Sounds like Schubach. Are you German? I like Germany. Yeah. Well, I hope you do get an iPad mini, dude. That'd be great. That would be super cool. 15 of us watching right now. 1 like. Does anybody have any more questions about the M2? Here, I'll go back to this cam. Does anybody have any questions about the M2 Pro or the M2 Air? It's 10:30. I'm probably going to jump off here soon. I want to watch the new Star Wars. Has anybody seen the Acolytes Star Wars? I saw the first episode. I enjoyed it. I really wonder how it's going to end up. My son is a way bigger Star Wars fan than me, so I want to outpace him on this one and see it before him. Carl says the Vision Pro is a product he doesn't see a clear future on right now. I'm surprised they didn't at first go the route of AR glasses. Man, yeah, I would have loved if they would have eased their way into it. Granted, Apple does the thing where they put out the best possible device to normalize it in the community, and they wanted to normalize people using AR glasses, and it did the opposite, I think. Like having the eyes on the front, it made it too weird. It would have been so much better if they would have just put simple AR glasses. I mean, it would have been much, much better. So I wish they would have done that, and they did not. So, yeah. Let's see. Micah Schubach says, American-born and raised U.S., just have family originally in Germany. And my thoughts on the new iPads is this. I won't upgrade until my M1 is obsolete. And that's going to be a long time because the M1 chip, I was so stoked when Apple first put out that M1 chip. It was one of those, there are some things in the tech world where you go, I will only see this happen once in my lifetime probably. That switch from Intel to the M1 chip with the efficiency, all that was huge. Chris, good to see you, dude. Glad you're here, bud. He says, man, don't you know Game 1 of the NBA Finals? I did not know that, honestly. I love sports, but I love playing sports. I don't like watching sports as much. So my wife's out of town, so I was just bored, and I was like, let's just do a live stream. So, Chris, got some news, dude. I can't say it yet. There will be some news about my pastoral ministry that something in life is changing. So I will say it next week, I think. Alex says, I just want the new Mac Pro in space black with an M4 Pro or an M4 Max. iMac Pro, space black. Yeah. Man, when they came out with that iMac Pro with the, was it 10-core Intel processor, and then like a year later it was obsolete. that was sad. That was sad. Chris says, and you're not an idiot about the refresh rate. Probably should be true on the iPhone as well. Yeah. Totes agree, man. Totally agree. Let's see. Guys, maybe we should tune into the game. I'm new to your channel, but you got to sub here as I like the live stream and your manner of speaking and the way you express yourself. Look forward to watching more streams perhaps earlier. Carl, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, the hard part with doing tech content is most of it's search-based. I mean, in this past month, I gained 1,200 subs. But because everybody's coming looking for advice on the devices, they don't really have any connection with me. And like, I would way rather have a connection with a few people than a whole bunch of people just kind of floating. And so I like these live streams because it really does help anybody who has questions or just wants to chat back and forth. Like, that's what this is for. It's really helpful. So I appreciate you subbing, dude. I really appreciate that. Christopher counts 100. Counts to 100. Christopher, you got to count to 100 now. Matt Klein, he says, I've been using the M4 iPad Pro for about a week now, and I love it. For what I do, I find it to be perfect. Sold my iPad mini and MacBook to each their own, but it works for me. Yeah, hey, well, and that's what's good about where everything's at right now. If you don't need a MacBook, don't have a MacBook. Just get an iPad, full M4 iPad with the keyboard, and it's an amazing experience. I am sad, heartbroken, in fact, that you sold your iPad mini, but I understand. It is getting old. Actually, I sold my iPad mini to my mom, and then I bought it back from her because I was like, I can't get rid of it. Can't get rid of it. Carl says, yep, the black iMac Pro was beautiful. It was, man. It was gorgeous. I remember seeing Jonathan Morrison's video, which, man, Jonathan Morrison, great dude. Sad to see, stuff that's happened in his life with his health. I pray for him. Pray he gets better. His channel is not the same when it's his friends running the channel. Are any of you guys familiar with Jonathan Morrison? I'm sure you are if you're like a tech head like I am. Chris, I bet you know Jonathan Morrison. Top 5 features you're looking forward to at WWDC. I really, really would love for them to reboot, just from the ground up, redo the Files app for the iPad. That would be a huge one. The biggest one that I think would be the most helpful is just being able to speak. So they're like focusing on AI, right? If I could just speak to my iPad and say, hey, I have a meeting on Tuesday with this person at 11 o'clock. For some reason, iPads cannot understand regular language. They can't make a calendar with me just speaking normal, which is why people loved Fantastical. There was another one that was just regular language, and it would convert that into a calendar thing. That's one of the biggest ones to me. Is like, it's not an assistant until I can just speak like I'm speak normal and it do what I need to do. So the AI stuff I think is going to be cool. So other than that, I mean, to make iPad OS more robust, because it's just clunky, there's just too much that's weird about it. That's the biggest stuff. I don't like the AI stuff. I don't care about it all that much. If they just make what they currently have better and do what everybody's asking them to do on what they currently have, that's more than enough for me. Carl says, I'm in the UK and Amazon here has a refurbished iMac Pro for $1,150 with a decent spec, probably because it's such a gorgeous machine and still very capable. And I have a feeling with some of those last Intel Macs, if you hold on to those for like 20 years, you'll be able to sell them. Maybe I could be wrong, but like I feel like the iMac Pro was such a niche device that you might be able to purchase one of those for $1,150, give it 20 years, and it becomes an investment at that point. I could be totally wrong, so don't spend your money because of something I said. But yeah, so John, recently found your channel and also subscribe. iPad fan here. I have a Mini 5 and an iPad Pro 12.9 M1. Use the Mini most of the time, but I love the Pro screen more. Hey Joe, 23. I appreciate you subbing. I have the Mini 5 in a drawer. It was getting too slow. At least for me, like it was slowing down quite a bit. So when I got the Mini 6, it felt like a whole new world. And still the Mini 6 feels fantastic. So I recommend people go with the Mini 6 a lot. But if you're digging the Mini 5, man, that's awesome. Christopher Count says prayers up for Jonathan Morrison. Yeah, man, he had what's it called where it's in your spine once you have chicken pox. I had it. Why can't I think of it? When I was like 20, it's like mostly for old people. I can't remember what it's called. I'm dumb. But he had that, and it got into his eye, and it affected stuff pretty bad. Readers Ramble. Are you a YouTube channel, Readers Ramble? I can't check right now, but if you are, I'd love to subscribe. Hey, John. Thank you for being honest in your vids. Would either tablet do well for Python coding? I'm torn. I saw a review that the Air goes down in power 10%, the Pro 6% on an hour of 4K. Go Mavs. Go Mavs. I don't have any experience with coding. That's one of those areas of life where I'm like, oh, I should learn this. I should really learn this, and I just never do. I saw that Gary from Everyday Dad just started going back to school for that, so that's cool. If you're seeing reports that the Air is going down faster, and if you're doing coding, you're making money with your device, you're a professional. You should probably get a Pro. Most people are not making money with their device, and so I would go Air. But if you're there's other people who are artists, and if you're making money with this thing, just get the better tool. It's probably a tax write-off. I don't know what taxes are like where you're at, but if this is for work, it is a tax write-off. So Matt says, it was tough parting with the iPad mini, but thinking about the iPhone Pro Max for that close to iPad size with a great camera. Yeah, they are. I hate the feeling of a massive phone in my pocket. So I was not about that life, but glad that you dig it. And it is pretty close. It's a pretty almost the same experience. Carl says, yeah, he has serious problems with his vision. It sounds like really, really difficult. And you can see now it's just horrible for him. I hope so much that the experimental therapies he's looking at helps. Yeah, man, I can't imagine, especially it happened to him at 30. I'm 35 right now. When that stuff happens when you're old age, that sucks. But it's I've had a good life. There's still so much in front of him. And that blows, man. But hoping he gets stronger through this. I hope those experimental things work. It's the biggest difficulty with anything that's life altering like that is just the mental health aspect. Realizing that you've lost something and it won't come back. That's why I think people need Jesus. So, yeah. That display on the iMac Pro is amazing. I watch 2 movies every night from my collection. Ooh, Carl, are you a big movie guy? Because we have, like I said, my buddy Dean Lentini, he's got Dean in Real Life podcast. He has a massive movie collection. It's such a fun podcast talking about movies from the early 2000s. You should check it out. He's on YouTube. So, Jeremy Collins, he says more iPads. Get rid of the iPads and go back to analog. Jeremy, I had my field notes here just a second ago. Me and Jeremy and Dean did a stream the other night, which was very fun. We talked about this, about going to an all analog productivity system. So that is something that would be fun. But iPads, Jeremy, are fun because they're technology. And writing is technology, but it's old technology, okay? Hey Joe 23, the 5 is starting to get slow. Agreed. Maybe you get a 7 or an 8, as I just use it to read books and watch videos. Thanks again for your videos. Yeah, Joe, that is the best use case for that, hands down. Having it to do reading is fantastic. The good news is, though, if reading is the main thing you're doing with your iPad Pro, or sorry, your iPad Mini, you don't need a new iPad. The Mini 6 for me is amazing for reading right now. So, yeah, having a 7 or an 8 would be dope. Maybe what's better is the 6 will get cheaper for some people. So, Alex says, I love the iPhone 11 Pro size. Just with the updated hardware would be the ultimate iPhone. Yeah. The 14 is pretty sweet, too. The just regular 14. I got that for my wife. Works fantastic. Carl says, huge movie guy. I have an amazing resource that I've been getting films from for over a decade. Is it called Pirate Bay? Just kidding. For over a decade, I have close to 40 terabytes of films. Man, I lead a solitary life, and films are massive and important in my life. Man, yeah, I love cinema. I love art, the artistry of cinema. I watched The Creator the other night and cried during it, so yeah, I really like that. Oh, next time I'm going to put OBS on this screen right in front of me and not over here. Alex says, Carl, the iMac Pro is the greatest desktop Apple has ever released. I sure hope there's a day they do a new Apple Silicon version with tons of high RAM options. Alex, do you do something for work where you need those specs? I agree with you wholeheartedly. I do feel, though, I have the 48 gigs of RAM on the M3 Max MacBook Pro with 4 terabytes of storage. It was a chunky fella, price-wise. But all my life is like making money off of offline and off of the internet, and so it's helpful, and it's a huge tax write-off. So, but yeah, man, I love desktops. Like right now, I'm streaming on a desktop PC. I've built 20, 30 PCs over my life. I just like computers and stuff, and I like side cams, okay? Side cams. Overhead cams. Main cams. I like tech stuff. It's fun. Carl says, guys, there's 14 of you watching. If anybody else has a comment or a question or something to say, please say it in the chat. Carl says, there is a certain website I go to. Never use torrents. There's this guy who gets hard to find stuff for me, and he's a cop in Russia. That does not sound sketchy at all. But that's pretty dope. You got your Russian cop friend selling you stuff online. Not selling. Yeah, torrenting. Man, what is his name? Louis Rossman has been doing a lot of great videos on the benefits of torrenting and how he thinks it's actually ethical. I don't agree with him, but it is interesting to hear somebody's perspective on torrenting and why, if it's a better... I will say this. If there's something I want to watch on Netflix, I sometimes will torrent it just so it's a better viewing experience, because I can get it higher, like it's not capped by Netflix. There's also not all the stupid ads in it. So I don't know. Is that considered illegal? Like I'm paying I'm paying for Netflix and I'm watching something from Netflix on a torrent. I don't know. Alex says, I use Unreal Engine and Blender and mostly Minecraft. So I probably don't need more than 36 gigabytes in reality. Yeah, Blender, though, dude. That and Unreal Engine, like, that's heavy lifting. So maybe you do need more. Those are, I mean, Blender could do some pretty cool stuff. Vintage Jonah, you were here last time. Hey, bro. Have you used Logos Bible on the iPad? What do you think? Hey, bud. You want to talk Logos on the iPad, do you? I use it quite literally every day. I use it for all of my sermons when I'm preaching like this. So I absolutely love Logos on the iPad. Hands down, it is my absolute most used app. I use it every morning for my personal time. So, yeah, if you don't have Logos, I think Jeremy might have a code. Jer, if you're still here, if you have a Logos code that like gets people money off, you should drop it in the chat to help save some moolah. Juan Antonio Umanya Malo says, bought the 12.9 M2 iPad Pro. Should I get the Magic Keyboard? Juan, do you have a MacBook Pro? If you have a MacBook Pro, then no. Well, maybe. Like, it does make it more useful. Hands down, it makes it more useful. So, even if it's like, if you can find it secondhand, that'd be awesome. So, yeah, he says, Juan says he has an M2 Air, which works great. Well, then, Juan, what size M2 Air? Is it the 13-inch or the 15-inch? Did they have an M2 15-inch, or did that just come out with the M3? So either way, 13-inch. Yeah, I wouldn't get the keyboard because that would be essentially the exact same thing as the Air, as the MacBook Air. And I like this 13-inch I have here is I keep it without the keyboard. So I got the keyboard for the 11-inch. It's over there somewhere. But I don't have a keyboard for the 13-inch because I have a 14-inch MacBook Pro. So I was like, what's the point of doing both of those? So yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. If I were you, maybe I'd save that money. Alex says, I would mostly get an overkill amount just for future-proofing. Yeah, that's a good idea. I don't know. Sometimes future-proofing is, like, tough because you could get better deals by selling something that's not future-proofed to go to the future. So, yeah. Carl says, I sent a portable drive to my... Here, I'm going to... Guys, we're turning this way, okay? My neck is hurting. This live stream stuff is intense. My mic still work? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Carl says, I sent a portable drive to my nephew recently with 220 films on it, and I had 160 that were not available on stream for the 4 streaming networks my brother and family subscribe to. That's cool. So you kind of have your own server kind of thing. I have a Plex server that I have, and I let my family use it as well. I love Plex, dude. Plex rules. Jeremy says he does have a code, so Vintage Jonah, if you were asking for a code, which I don't know that you were, but if you are, Jared's going to get you one. Typo, over 220 were not available on stream. Still, no matter what, that's a lot of films. All right, American Princess says, nice one. Nice one, dude. Michael says, I am once and for all not upgrading to the next iPhone. The iPhone 15, the 15 Pro Max, is all I will need for the next 3 years at least. Also sold an M1 iPad Pro 12.9 and bought the iPad 10 and kept that $500. That's smart, man. That's how you should do it. If if a cheaper device is going to do everything you need and then some, there's just no reason to go with the more expensive device. Like, that's one thing I want my channel to specialize in, is just saying you don't need the new thing. You just don't. It's not going to make your life better. Anytime I've bought a new device, it's been cool for a week. And after that week, I don't care about it anymore. And that's because iPads were not meant to make you happy. So go with the cheaper thing. Let's do a tech channel that's anti-consumerism, okay? All right. Juan says, great, thanks. Yeah, Juan, thanks for stopping by, dude. Thanks for chatting with us. Appreciate it, bro. If you have any other questions, let me know. Carl says, so are you both Apple and PC? Yes, 100%. I love Apple, love the design. I've always loved the design language. I love the software, but I'm a tinkerer, and I love building PCs. And so, like, the PC I have, it's like a 4070 Ti. It's got 8 terabytes of storage, a 14700K. So, and then 64 gigs of RAM. Like, I love tinkering. I'm going to upgrade this thing, forever. And I also have built like mini piece, like ITX PCs. That's my favorite, is to do like small builds. So I've thought about doing some PC content on this channel. I don't know how people would like that or not. If you would like to see PC content, do you think I should do it on this channel, or do you think I should start another channel? I'll have to check out the Logos app. I carry my iPad to church every Sunday. Yeah, Matt, you should, dude. It is an amazing app. It's my favorite Bible app for sure. Like the one that Craig Rochelle's church put out, the what's that called? The one that's just the Holy Bible. It's not helpful. Like, all my commentaries are on Logos. I'd rather have one place to find everything. So I know Chris Casillas is in the chat too. He uses Logos a lot as well. So there's a couple of us here that are interested in the Logos app. So Jeremy, if you do have a code, you might want to put it in to get some affiliate. But if you're going to use the iPad app, the app is not, I don't think you have to pay for the app at all. So, yeah. Johnny Stephen Boy, is the 11 a little big watching in bed? The mini iPad is great, but I am considering the new Pro 11, but it's kind of big. Yeah, the mini is the best for if you're going to mostly read your iPad in bed. The 11 inch is not good for reading, but if you're going to watch stuff, you could prop it up on a pillow or something, that'd be fine. But a lot of times when I'm watching something in bed, I find it easiest to still hold the iPad above me, and the mini is the best for that, for sure. Jeremy's making fun of me for saying I have 17 iPads. Jeremy, I have a tech YouTube channel. I have to have iPads. If I buy iPads, I can make 50 videos throughout the year on the iPads and create income. So that is the only reason. If not, if I had one single iPad, guys, I would go with the M2 Pro iPad. I don't know what this is. Go away, you. Oh, let's see this. That's a boat game that my daughter plays. We can do this one.
Let's assemble a stacker ship and a barge.
Look at that, guys. I'm a grown man, okay? So, if I had one iPad, I would definitely go with the M2 iPad Pro, for sure, for sure. Let's see. Yes, after a week or two, you're just looking at a screen. Exactly. Exactly. Michael Willever. Whoops, you don't appreciate the new thing as much as you thought you would. 100%. You were not meant to be made happy with electronic devices. We always get those things turned around of like, love people and use things. We get that turned around where we love things and use people. We need to get that back the correct way. They're never going to make you happy long term. There's always going to be a new thing coming out. Like, the amount of times I've fallen into the trap of like getting something new and be like, oh, this is it. This is awesome. This is going to transform my workflow. And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, this is the exact same thing. And then the next one comes out and I'm like, oh, I need that one. And then it's just a never ending cycle. And in fact, I don't know if you guys have seen Linus Tech Tips, the big like Linus mental breakdown video is him talking about that he's just a kind of shill for never-ending consumerism. It's like, yeah, dude, that is what tech YouTube is, unfortunately, and it's just not helpful, dude. It's not helpful. Let's see. Juan says, oh, totally, Michael. I bought the 15 Pro and the 13, and now I don't even notice the difference. Yeah. Chris says, I was at the Apple store the other day listening to the salesperson talk to a guy about which laptop to buy was painful. Overhearing his use case, he was being upsold big time. Yes. And that's sad, man. Like, because that person's going to get that laptop. And here's the cool thing. If they get something, if they get upsold on it, it will last them many, many years in the future, and that's great. But how much more would that person be willing to trust Apple with their future purchases if they knew that this person is selling me exactly what I need? That's why the whole, like, upselling culture doesn't make sense long term. And that's like when you go back to businesses 50 years ago when they were just about getting quality and getting the person the right thing they needed, that created customers for decades to come instead of like, let's just make as much money right now as we can. Guys, let's just wind back time to 50 years ago. I wasn't alive 50 years ago, but 35 years ago I was born. And Jeremy's going analog, so let's just do it, guys. Let's get rid of all the tech. We'll shut down this channel as it is, and we'll become a minimalist analog channel. I'm just joking. American Princess says, are the speakers on the iPad Air 13 better than the iPad Air 11? I haven't noticed any difference between any of these iPads. They are so thin that no matter what, they don't sound good. And so if you're going to, if you want quality, use AirPods. Do they sound a little better on the 13? They will, just because there's a little bit more acoustic space in it. But it's not significant enough to matter at all. So if you need good quality sound, use AirPods or use headphones. The code is up on my website. I tried to drop the link, but you got blocked, boy. I don't know how to make you a admin, Jeremy, or whatever it's called. As moderators. Yep. All right, Jeremy, you are now a mod. So maybe that will help you put the link down. My pastor says that you should spend your money on experiences and not stuff, and that changed my life. Yes. Like with our kids, man, we talk about, me and my wife, we don't have enough money to buy them experiences either, but it's because I'm wasting all the money on the iPads. I'm just kidding. Hopefully. But yes, dude, you know, I don't care about a pair of shoes I had 6 years ago. I do care about the trip to Puerto Rico my family took so my kids can see that half of their ancestry. My wife is Puerto Rican. She's a lovely, spicy Puerto Rican woman. But my kids have grown up in Orlando, which is very Spanish, very high Spanish population, but they're still like pretty much white kids, and trying to get them to like experience that culture. I would rather spend money doing that, you know, getting them in that culture than otherwise. So American Princess says, thanks for the tip. Yeah, absolutely. If you have any more questions, let me know. I'm not going to stick around too much longer. It's 11 o'clock. I'm getting tired. I want to go check out Star Wars. If you need a good Star Wars YouTube channel, check out Jeremy Collins' YouTube channel that's called The Force Awakens. Is it The Force Awakens, Jeremy? Are you seeing Lord of the Rings in the theater this weekend? I would love to. I don't think I'll have time. Terry's just getting back from youth camp from helping out, so I don't think so. The Force Fandom, that's what it is. I watch it. The Force Fandom. If you're a Star Wars fan, do that. If you're a movies fan, go check out Dean in Real Life. Michael says, my wife is a spicy Mexican, and our kids refuse to learn Spanish. Mine too. So you know you get the pain. The pain of, I'm assuming, Michael, that you're white, so your kids are half Spanish. You know that pain, dude. My kids, the one thing they do like of Spanish culture is they love rice and beans. But bro, trying to get them to learn Spanish is like pulling teeth. We tried. Our son took a while to talk, which is crazy because he's like crazy smart. But he took a long time to talk, and so we were trying to do both languages at first. And he was getting so mad because he couldn't communicate what he wanted. And so finally we're like, screw it. Let's just go to one language for now. We'll bite the bullet. And then now we kind of regret that decision. So if you got kids and they are biracial, they should learn both languages. Don't be a failure like me and apparently like Michael. All right, let me know. I'm going to stick around for about 5 more minutes. Let me know if you are got questions. Michael says, you are the first and only channel that I have hit the bell icon for. Dude, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I know sometimes my videos, a lot of times I'll do this like live stream style where it's just kind of quick cuts and all that kind of stuff. That's because I am a full-time pastor, got 2 kids, got a wife, and I don't have a ton of time. But like I do sometimes like to do really high quality stuff. I just wish it were more. I wish I were able to do it more. I am finally making enough money that I could hire an editor weekly, but then that's a whole like chunk of the business that's not going to our family. So I appreciate you hitting the bell icon, because sometimes I worry that my channel is not high enough quality to where people would actually want to do that. So I appreciate that. Code Red Tonyo says, the OLED iPad mini ever coming? Dude, we talked about that a few times. Man, if the OLED iPad mini came out tomorrow and was $1,000, I would buy it, because I would buy it and I would sell other stuff. I would sell the iPads and stuff. Like it would be my main device for everything reading wise, consumption, taking to meetings, taking my notes, all of that. One other thought is if Apple ever got into the remarkable game of like the e-ink, there's this new computer company. I reached out to them to see if I could get a review unit that is doing 60 hertz e-ink displays, which is high refresh e-ink, and that's amazing. That's really cool technology. If Apple could do something like that, I would jump on board. I don't think they will. They have far too much interest in high quality screens, but like the Remarkable 2 is awesome. I'm really interested to see what this computer turns into, if it's any good. Like a computer with e-ink, you think for writers and stuff. I don't know why that's mostly like the lens I go through, but like people who type a lot, it'd be pretty awesome. One says, should I sell the 12.9 for the new iPad Pro, or is it the same thing? It's the same thing. You'd have no different. I mean, unless you're like, I don't know. It's the same thing. I wouldn't sell it, because you're not going to get, the money you deserve out of it. Your experience is going to be like 4% different on the new M4 iPad Pro. It's just not worth it. Now, if you have that 12.9 for like a few more years, and they come out with something a few more years from now, then that would be worth it. But right now, if you're on like the M1 iPad Pro and forward, I wouldn't upgrade. Carl says, 4 a.m. here, so I'm off to bed. Man, Carl, thanks for chilling, dude. I'm glad I found your channel. I look forward to future streams. Take care out there. I mean, I appreciate it, Carl. You are a champ. Thanks for staying up with us, dude. I'm watching this from my podcast studio. Oh, what? I'm jealous of yours. I work for the Active Self-Protection channel and am enjoying your channel. It's simplicity and honesty. Keep it up. So is the Active Self-Protection channel, is that like a gun YouTube channel or martial arts YouTube channel? What's the sitch over there, Michael? Juan says he appreciates it for sure. John, I think that's the first time someone has been jealous of your garage. Yeah, if you don't know, I'm in my garage. And I said it earlier that I have my dog down there scratching. Let's see if we can. He's just scratching away at this thing for no reason. So my squat rack is right there. You can't see it. I could probably... No, I'm not going to do that. That is my squat rack right there. We're in my garage. So, Michael, I want to check out your channel. I don't know how to do that from go to channel. That's how I'll do it. Nice. Big Daddy weave covers, casting crown covers. All right. Michael, I've been a worship pastor for like 15 years, so that's good stuff to see. All right, guys. I'm slowing down. It's not my channel. Oh, you just work there. Nice. Well, I'll check that out. What is it called again? It's the Active Self-Protection channel. I'm going to type that in, bro. Dude, you work for a 3.36 million subscriber channel? That is a lot of subscribers. Holy moly, dude. I mean, videos are getting 350,000, 330,000. Michael, what do you do for them? That's awesome, bro. Good for you, man. Oh, cool. You're the bald guy on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's awesome. Sweet, dude. Nice to meet you, bro. I will subscribe right now. I live in a constitutional carry state, so you know I'm all about that life. That's sweet, man. Well, guys, this has been fun. I think I'm going to try to stream once a week just to, actually, Mike, we won't talk about it here. I'm a pocket carry LCP, the 380. So I'm going to try to stream once a week just to get some more connection with everybody because, like I said, it's cool to have a tech channel. It's a lot of search. I really enjoy it, love doing it, but I really want more connection with people. And so for me, doing live streams has been fun. Like I got to meet Michael. That's been great. Juan, you've been great, dude. Thanks for chilling. Jeremy, thanks for becoming a mod on my channel randomly tonight. So Chris was here. We had a lot of people here, man. This was fun. Always a good time, y'all. Appreciate it. Michael says, hit me up. We can talk guns and such. I would love that, dude. I enjoy firearms quite a bit. So, all right, man. Y'all have a good night, guys. I appreciate everybody's chilling and showing up. Juan, thanks for being here, brother. I will see you all. I have a video coming out in a few days where I'm comparing these two iPads where we're essentially going to talk about everything we talked about tonight. So you could just put it on in the background and not watch it, and you would get the same experience. So, cool. Appreciate you guys. Matt, Klein, thanks for being here, guys. All right, y'all. I'm out. Have a good night. Now I got to figure out how to end the live stream. There it is.